Welcome to the review and preview problems 9-7 to 9-13 in the CCG book. 9-7 says, examine the solid below. On your paper, draw a possible map plan for this solid. So if we draw a map plan, we draw a 3x3 square, and then we list the amount of cubes that we can see from our top view. So looking down, I see 1 cube in this front right hand. I see 1 cube, 1 cube. I see 2 cubes looking down on this stack, 3 cubes looking down on this stack, assuming that there is no floating cubes, 2 cubes on this back stack. I see 0 cubes. I also see 0 cubes right here and 1 cube right here. That said, find the volume of the solid. So the volume, assuming that there are no hidden cubes, would equal all of the cubes on our map plan added up, which would be approximately 11 units cubed. 9-8 says, assume that two figures on a flat surface A and B are similar. If the linear scale factor is 2/5, then what is the ratio of the areas? So remember, linear scale factor is one-dimensional, area is two-dimensional, so we need to square both of these numbers. So 2 squared is 4, 5 squared is 25, so the ratio of the areas would be 4/25. If the ratio of the perimeters of A and B is 14:1, what is the ratio of the areas? Remember, perimeter is one-dimensional because it's talking about one side. Area is squared. So we would say that 14 squared is 196 to 1 squared is 1. If the area of A is 81 times, so the area is 81 times that of B, what is the ratio of the perimeter? So remember, area is squared, so if we take the square root of the area, we would get a ratio of 9:1. 9-9 says, find the area of a regular decagon with the perimeter of 10 units. So a decagon, we know that the shape we're talking about has 10 sides. If the perimeter is 10 units, if we are 100 units, and we divide that by 10, we know that each side is approximately 10 units long. We then know if we created central angles, we would have 360 divided by 10, which would mean that our central angle is 36 degrees. We then could divide or subtract 180 minus 36. So 180 minus 36 gives us 144. So our interior angle of our polygon is 144. In order to find the area, we need to find our height. So if we draw a right triangle, half of 36 would give us 18. Our base would be 5, and we would be looking for our adjacent side. So we can take the tangent of 18 degrees is equal to our opposite side over our adjacent. We use our inverse operations to get rid of a in the denominator. So we have a times the tangent of 18 equals 5. We then need to get a by itself, so we divide by the tangent of 18. Shout out to Kyrie, and we want to make sure that our calculator is in degrees and not radians. So A is equal to 5 over the tangent of 18, which gives us 15.39. So when we take 1/2 base times height, so 10 times 15.39 divided by 2, we get 76.94, and then we need to take that and multiply that times 10 because we have 10 triangles inside of our decagon, and we get an area of 769.42 units squared. 9-10 says the diagram below shows a circle inscribed in a square. Find the area of the shaded region if the side length of the square is 6 meters. So if the side length of the square is 6 meters, we also know that our diameter of our circle is 6 meters, which means our radius, or half of our circle, is 3 meters. To find our area of our square, we're going to do 6 meters times 6 meters, which gives us 36 meters squared. To find the area of our circle, we're going to do pi times the radius squared, which equals 9 pi meters squared. We need to subtract the circle from our square, so 36 meters squared minus 9 pi equals approximately 7.73 left in these outside pieces, but we only want half of that because only half is shaded. So if we divide that by 2, we can say that the area of the shaded region is approximately 3.86 meters squared. 9-11, solve each system of equations below. Write your solution in the form XY. Check your solution. So remember, when we solve systems, we learned last year that we can solve a system of equations using graphing, substitution, which we also sometimes refer to as the equal value method, or elimination. So depending upon what our equation looks like, one particular method may be easier than the other. In example A, we have one of our equations solved for x. So we know what x equals, so we can substitute it into our other equation. So 3 times 2y plus 8 minus y equals 14. Distribute your 3, so you get 6y plus 24 minus y equals 14. The things on the same side of the equation we need to just combine like normal. So 6y minus 1y gives us 5y. Our 24, the inverse of positive 24 is negative 24. So we get 5y is equal to negative 10. Divide by 5, and we get y is equal to negative 2. So remember, we're only halfway through our problem. We need to substitute our y back in and solve for x. So the easiest equation to substitute that back into is your second one. So x equals 2 times negative 2 plus 8. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. Plus 8 is 4. x is 4. Make sure we write this as an ordered pair, 4 comma negative 2. We need to check our answer, so we can plug 4 in. 4 is equal to 2 times negative 2 plus 8. 4 is equal to 4, and our solution worked. So then we can try problem B, and I noticed in problem B that I know what x equals and I know what x equals, so we can set x equal to x. So 2y plus 2 is equal to negative y minus 10. Inverse operations, I'm going to add my y. So I get 3y plus 2 equals negative 10. Subtract my 2. 3y equals negative 12. Inverse of multiplication is division. So I get y is equal to negative 4. Remember, we need to plug that back in and solve for our x. So you can plug it back into either equation. So I'm going to plug it back into the top one. So x is equal to 2 times negative 4 plus 2. X is equal to negative 8 plus 2. X is equal to negative 6. Remember, we need to write our solution as an ordered pair, 6 comma negative 4. We want to quickly check just to make sure we did things correctly. So negative 6, you can plug it back into either equation. I'm going to plug it into the bottom equation, so don't lose the negative that's attached to your y. Negative 6 is equal to a negative and a negative makes a positive 4 minus 10. Negative 6 is absolutely equal to negative 6. So B worked as well. Looking at our last problem, I can see that my x's, my y's, and my constants are all lined up nicely. I also recognize that my y's have opposite signs and the same coefficient. So I can use the elimination method and add these two equations together, and my y's eliminate. So I get x is equal to 9. I divide by my 18, and I get x is equal to 1/2. I then need to plug that back in. 2 times 1/2 plus y equals 13. Half of 2 is 1. Inverse of positive 1 is negative 1. Y is equal to 12. My ordered pair is 1/2 comma 12. If I plug that back in to quickly check, half of 2 plus 12 equals 13. 1 plus 12 equals 13. 13 does equal 13. Our solution is correct. 9-12 says Gino looked around at the 12 students in his lunchtime computer science club and wrote down the following descriptions of their sex, clothing, and shoes. Letter A says make an area model or a tree diagram of all the possible outfits in the sample space. Organize the combinations of sex, clothing, and shoes. Okay, well, we can't make an area model because there are more than 2 things that we are talking about. So we are going to have to make a tree diagram. So the first thing that we can choose from is the gender. So when we make our tree diagram, we can have males or we can have females. The next thing that we can choose from is the clothing. So in our tree diagram, a male can wear long pants, shorts, a dress, or a skirt. So we have three choices: long pants, shorts, a dress or skirt, and our females have the same three things to choose from: long pants, shorts, dress, or skirt. We then have two types of shoes. So the shoes they can wear are tennis shoes or other shoes, tennis shoes or other shoes, tennis shoes or other shoes, and we just completed our tree diagram. Letter B says, in your model or diagram from Part A, indicate the probabilities for each option. What is the probability that a randomly selected student is wearing long pants? So looking at our information, we know that half of the data that we collected are males and half of them we collected are females. We know that 2/3 of the time our males wear long pants, 1/3 of the time they wear shorts, and 0/3 of the time they wear dress shirts. For the females, however, they wear long pants 1/3 of the time, shorts 1/3 of the time, and dresses or skirts 1/3 of the time. When we look at whether they wear tennis shoes or other, we can say that half of the time for all of these events they wear tennis shoes or other shoes. So from the following tree diagram, the probability of wearing long pants would be 2/12 plus 2/12 plus 1/12 plus 1/12, which would equal 1/2. So another way of looking at that is we have 6 long pants, 12 students, so half of the time probability would be 1/2 that the person would be wearing long pants. Question C says, which outcomes are in the event which is the union of long pants and tennis shoes? So when we look at the union of long pants and tennis shoes, so we want to observe the combinations that are wearing long pants or tennis shoes. So union means or. So we have a male long pants, tennis shoes. M is for male, L is for long pants, T is for tennis shoes. We have another male with long pants and other shoes. We have a male with shorts and tennis shoes. We have a female with long pants and tennis shoes. We have a female with long pants and other shoes. We have a female with shorts and tennis shoes. And we have a female with a dress and tennis shoes. When we talk about which outcomes are in the intersection of long pants and tennis shoes, that means that they have to both be wearing long pants and tennis shoes. So the only people, there is one male wearing long pants and tennis shoes, and there is one female wearing long pants and tennis shoes. 9-13 says, what information would you need to know about the diagram below in order to prove that triangle ABD is congruent to triangle CBD by side angle side congruency? So looking at this triangle, we know based upon the reflexive property that BD is congruent to BD. We know that if we have a straight line, it equals 180. So by definition, if this is a right angle, this is also a right angle, so they're congruent. So the only other information that we would need to know is that line segment AD is congruent to line segment CD.